الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين الصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين خاتم النبيين بالقاسم محمد وأهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين المعصومين الذين أذهب الله عنهم الرجس وطهرهم تطهيرا. أما بعد فقد قال الله تبارك وتعالى وقوله الحق وهو أصدق القائلين. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. يا أيها الذين آمنوا كتب عليكم الصيام كما كتب على الذين من قبلكم لعلكم تتقون. صدق الله العلي العظيم. صلى الله عليه وسلم. Before I begin, if I can ask all of you to move forward as people are walking in from that door, especially from that door. So it's a little bit difficult for them to walk in. It might hit you when they open the door. So move forward with a loud Nara Salawat. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. If you remember last night's discussion that we were having, that was talking about the different types of benefits and the effects that we have from this fasting. Obviously, we're in this month of Ramadan and we want to make best of the days and the nights and the fasting of this month of Ramadan. And that's why before we get to our real discussions, this is just the preliminary steps that we're going through, where we're discussing and familiarizing ourselves better with this concept of fasting. And we talked about how there are different effects and the benefits that are associated with fasting. If you can remember last night, we talked about the social effects and the social benefits of fasting. We went into the details of it. I won't repeat that. Secondly, we talked about the individual effects and the individual benefits that it has for us. And then we also talked about the spiritual benefits and the effects which we derived from the last part of the ayah that I've been reciting, لَعَلَّكُمْ تَتَّقُونَ, as to how this fasting is supposed to make us muttaqi. And then we also ended with the discussion on how there are some fasts that do not bear any benefit. And so there could be a fast in which a person goes out and makes an effort to go out and perform this fast, but yet it has no value, none whatsoever. So these were the different types of effects and the benefits that we had discussed last night. If you missed it, you can watch it on the YouTube. The videos will be uploaded, inshallah. But nonetheless, inshallah, we'll move forward with the discussion where I had promised to mention 5 elements that devalue our fast and 5 elements which elevate our fast. And this is indeed an important discussion for us all to know, because we're only on the 3rd day of this month of Ramadan. Another 26 or 27 days are to go. And if we can implement these things, as I was preparing this, it helped me a great deal because I learned a few things out of it, and inshallah I hope the same is for you, that 5 things which will elevate the current form of fasting that we have, and 5 things which devalue if we are doing those things as far as our fast is concerned. The first and the foremost is bad thoughts. So we'll be starting with 5 elements that devalue your fast. Fasting is the physical sense. Fasting in the physical sense is obviously abstaining from the food and the drinks and all of those things which invalidate the fast. But spiritually, it means controlling the 5 senses from doing anything unpleasant, as well as keeping the heart pure from any bad thoughts. You say, well, there's no crime of having a bad thought or having an ill thought. There's no crime. Allah will not hold you accountable, will not penalize you if you had a bad thought. You did not do it. You thought of, na'udhu billah, drinking alcohol, or you thought of, na'udhu billah, I don't know, something haram. It's difficult to even think of something haram while you're standing on a mimbar, because you don't want to say something outrageous. But anything haram, it's not a crime to think about it, because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will not penalize you for it. But what it does, it corrupts the mind. In fact, there's a hadith in which Hazrat Isa ﷺ said that Hazrat Musa told you not to commit adultery. I'm telling you not to even think about committing adultery. And he said there's a difference between the two. Doing the act is haram, no doubt. But even thinking about it is polluting your mind with it. And he gave an example. He said, imagine if you have a room which is painted white, and if you were to, lit a fire, build a fire inside this room. Imagine this room right here, or it's a smaller room with white fresh paint, and you were building a fire in it. You lit a fire in it. Yes, the fire might not burn down the room, but because of the ashes that are flying from it, what is it going to do? It's going to taint this white paint that you have. So similarly, you won't commit this crime, which is haram, but even thinking about it is going to go ahead and pollute this mind of yours. So keeping it away. So heart of a fasting person should be fasting with it. Insan avoids many things while fasting. Similarly, his heart should do so as well. In order to protect the sanctity of this month, and the person who is fasting refrain from bad thoughts and polluted mindset. Amirul Mu'mineen Ali ibn Abi Talib ﷺ said, a fasting heart which refrains from sins is better than a fasting stomach which refrains from eating anything. And then he added, a fasting heart is better than a fasting tongue. A fasting tongue is better than a fasting stomach. So the stomach that we are refraining from putting any food or item in it is the least of the, if you want to look at this hierarchy, if you want to look at this table, it's the least of it. The topmost of it will be the heart. Second is impure morsel and its effect. Haram, luqma haram. There are many riwayat, luqmatul haram, yubinu fi dhurriya. One haram morsel will not only have effects on your body and your physical aspect and your spirituality, but also yubinu fi dhurriya. It has signs in your dhurriyat, in your progeny. You say, well, how is it possible that I'm consuming haram? How is it going to go ahead and affect them? Yes, there is effect of that. And that is one of the reasons we see why it was mentioned that when Hazrat Adam ﷺ ate from that forbidden tree, that apple or that fruit that he had eaten from that forbidden tree, the reason behind 30 days of fasting. Why didn't Allah make it 2 months? Why didn't He make it 45 days? Why didn't He make it 15 days? Why did He make it 30 days? He said because the effects of that fruit that Adam had eaten remain in his body for 30 days. And therefore, as the compensation from the ummah, I'm going to make it obligatory upon them to fast for 30 days. So in other words, this is replenishing, this is cleaning your system, as we mentioned last night. I won't go into those details. So one impure morsel and its effect. Fast must be void of any doubtful food. Therefore, if a person doesn't pay attention towards halal and haram and eats anything and fasts, his fast will be void of the worth and the credence Shariat has assumed for it. There's high status for the person who's fasting. There's a high elevated place for the person and a rank for the person who's fasting. Do not mix it with something which is doubtful from the Sharia aspect. A lot of time we see just a label of halal and we go for it. No, that is not the case. You gotta make sure if it is being sold in a non-Muslim market, just having the label halal is not enough. You gotta go ahead and do your research. Yes, if a Muslim market is selling something and saying it's halal, then you're bari'ud dhimma, you don't have to go ahead and do any research. But when it comes to non-Muslim market, which it is prevalent over here, you got to make sure that which you're buying, just the fact that it says halal on it will not automatically make the thing for you to be halal and consume. So dedication to eat halal and abstain from haram is one of the clear signs of being on the path of haqq. It has great effects spiritually and physically. It is one of the things, if you consume haram, you're more prone to performing sins. As opposed to a person who has stayed away from eating haram, he will refrain or she will refrain easily from the sins that lure and they'll go ahead and entice you. Our Prophet Hazrat Muhammad Mustafa sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, woe unto the person who breaks his fast with haram. Yes, Prophet is saying such a thing, so I'm sure there are people who break their fast. They're fasting all day long. But what are they breaking their fast with? Something which is haram. Third, maligning, which means to slander or to defame someone. Fast is destroyed. According to Rasulullah, he said, 4 things destroy the fast and make it void. One of them is slandering others. Torment in the grave is also associated with this. Prophet said when he was giving advice to all of his companions, and he addressed Amirul Mu'mineen by saying, O Ali, abstain from ghibah and slandering, as ghiba destroys the fast and slandering causes torment of the grave. How easy it is for us to go out and do this. We're fasting, yet we're doing these crimes, and these atrocities are being committed from our tongue without us being realizing it. We're talking behind someone's back. We're slandering someone. We're ripping them apart of what they have or have not done. This is where these ahadith come into play. That yes, this fast, this physical aspect of it, you might be accomplishing, but the spiritual effects of it, you will never be able to gain. لَعَلَّكُمْ تَتَّقُونَ part will never be attained if this tongue is used and let loose to go ahead and say whatever it wants to. Fourth, it says, aside from abstaining from muharramat and avoiding makruhat, one must not do anything which annoys or teases the parents. This is also related. As it comes the month of Ramadan, we are going through this month. I'm sure that nobody on purpose does this to their parents, but there might be someone who does it on purpose, and then many of us do it mistakenly. Ayat of Quran are very, very clear in regards to the parents as far as their kindness towards them is concerned. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, when He addresses the concept of being kind towards the parents, He addresses it with what? He addresses قَضَى رَبُّكَ أَلَّا تَعْبُدُوا إِلَّا إِيَّاهُ وَبِالْوَالِدَيْنِ إِحْسَانًا. That He addresses and He commands you not to worship anyone but Allah. So He has your attention now. When you mention something which catches the mind, which grabs the attention, now that He has grabbed your attention, He says, وَقَضَى رَبُّكَ أَن لَا تَعْبُدُوا إِلَّا إِيَّاهُ. People were focused. He said, وَبِالْوَالِدَيْنِ إِحْسَانًا. At the same time, while you're at it, you're not worshiping anyone but me, also make sure that you are kind towards your parents. See how the similarity is there between the two. In other words, He should have mentioned alongside with His Tawheed, Nubuwwat. When He said, وَقَضَى رَبُّكَ أَن لَا تَعْبُدُوا إِلَّا إِيَّاهُ, He should have said, وَأَشْهَدُ أَنَّ مُحَمَّدًا رَسُولُ اللَّهِ, or He's the Nabi. He should have talked about the Nubuwwat. He should have talked about the Qiyamat. Rather, He chose to talk about what? وَبِالْوَالِدَيْنِ إِحْسَانًا. And be kind towards your parents. 4 places in Quran does Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions وَبِالْوَالِدَيْنِ إِحْسَانًا. وَبِالْوَالِدَيْنِ إِحْسَانًا. 4 places. But not once does Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions, oh parents, be kind towards your kids. Not one place in Quran. Not a single place does it say in Quran, oh parents, be kind towards your parents. The reason is, when you're going downhill, you don't really need to push on the accelerator, right? You put it in the neutral, it goes on its own. That's already given. They're already going to be kind to them. So Allah does not need to emphasize upon that point. But on the other way, when you're going uphill, you really need all the exertion there is possible. So He's making sure that this point is well understood. Disowned by the parents, a person who's disowned, Aqul walidain, and he's fasting. Prophet said this person's fast has no value, none whatsoever. We mentioned this ayat from Surah September 17, verse number 22. I recited that in front of you. وَقَضَى رَبُّكَ أَن لَا تَعْبُدُوا إِلَّا إِيَّاهُ. Your Lord has commanded you that you worship none but Him, and that you be good to your parents. If either one of them or both of them reach old age, do not say a word of disrespect, nor scold them, but say to them kind words. Shaykh Tabarsi in Tafsir Jawam al-Jami' under this verse says, when Allah prohibits man from even saying oof to his parents, then definitely harassing them or teasing them is haram. When Allah is forbidding you from saying oh or oof, then definitely teasing them or harassing them by any means possible is something which is haram. Syed ibn Ta'us, after preparing his kafan and allocating, he allocated his grave where? Onto the feet of his parents. He made his grave, he dug his grave, he said, this is where I'm going to be buried. He said, as long as I'm in my grave, I want my head to be under the feet of my parents, since Allah orders us to be humble in front of the parents, to be kind towards them, and to present yourself with mercy and compassion in front of them. I want to be living like this, and when I'm dead, I want to be buried in their feet, so that it shows the utmost level of humbleness and humility towards them. Sallu ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. So under these instructions, we must never tease or annoy or do anything of any sort to our parents, and their disrespect, and their respect rather, has no limits. Prophet said, one who saddens his mother or father is ostracized, is ul walidain. Man asbaha, there's some riwayat that are just coming to my mind, that man asbaha, one who wakes up and his parents are not satisfied with him, his ibadat are not accepted. It goes to that extent. The daily wajibat, obligation, what is the relationship with it? Then again, you go back to this ayat of Surah Bani Israel, chapter number 17, verse number 22, how Allah is putting His wahdaniyat next to the being kind towards the parents. Some points over here that Prophet has recognized 3 fathers for everyone. First is your biological father, second is your father-in-law, and third is your teacher. So therefore, what are we saying? We're saying all of these should be taken care of in the same way. Not just the one who's responsible for bringing you into this world, but also the one who is your father-in-law, and also the one who has taught you something, who is your teacher. Scolding and looking at them even from a critical eye, from a sight which is cruel. Imam Sadiq alayhi salatu wasalam says, one who stares at his parents with cruelty and criticism, even if the parents have been unjust to him. Let's go to the extent. He said, even if your parents were unjust, they did something which is in the eyes of the public is unjust. Even at that point, if you are cruel and you criticize them, that person's prayers are not accepted. Goes to that extent. This tells us the highest. Now obviously this should not spoil the parents, that they go ahead and do whatever they want to. No, this is mutual understanding. But at the same time, they should understand the value that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is recognizing for them. You are a parent of someone, you are son of someone, you are daughter of someone, now you're a parent of someone. So it goes in this cycle and it works this way. Just because you're a father or you're a mother, you're given this status and this high title. Continuing on, we see that according to this hadith, our sixth Imam is saying, one of the conditions for the salat to be accepted by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is keeping the honor and the respect of the parents intact. What comes after salat? Namaz, roza. Therefore we're fasting in order for us to keep our fasts. And the conditions, one of the conditions of this fast to be accepted is to have your parents satisfied with you. If they're not satisfied with you for whatever reason, this is the month to go ahead and redeem yourself and make up for the mistakes that you have made. 5 people are dependents of a person known as wajibul nafaqa: your father, your mother, your children, your wife, and your slave. One cannot give zakat and khums to these, then 2 cannot be given to the immediate family. So these zakat and khums cannot be given to the immediate family, and these 5 are considered to be your immediate family. Lastly, number 5, that which devalues your fast is arrogance and vanity. One of the calamities of fast from ethical perspective is arrogance and vanity. Arrogance was actually the first sin that was committed in front of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We know who did it. Iblis did it. It has roots of kufr in it. In fact, we read in a hadith that says 3 things are amongst the roots of kufr. What are they? Greed. Second is arrogance. And third is jealousy. Arrogance is when a person devalues others and considers himself to be superior and above others. This could happen to anyone. No one is prone from it. No one is safe from it. Even those who stand up on this pulpit and go up on this minbar who are preaching about how arrogance is bad, even they are not prone from it. They become arrogant as well. This hasad and greed gets into them more. In fact, in some riwayat we read that even ulama have more hasad sometimes than the awamun nas. So it is very important that we keep these things away from us. Why? Because it is going to go ahead and devalue our fast. Lastly, 5 elements that give value to our fast. You say, well, we've been talking about that which devalues. Let's get away from that. Tell us something which is going to elevate this fast of ours. First is Imam Shanasi and Vilayat of Imam. What does that mean? Recognition of Imam. Knowing your Imam. When you're fasting in the state that you're fasting and knowing Imam of your time, that gives value to your fast. I'll tell you how. One of the educational dimensions of fasting is familiarity with Imam. Have you ever thought why there's so many supplications of the month of Ramadan are associated with Imam of our time? Imam Zamana, Ajjalallahu Ta'ala Farajahu Sharif, who taught us this dua iftitah? Imam of our time. It's associated with him. And then why are we told to repeat dua faraj over and over and over again, especially in the night of Qadr? So Imam Shanasi and recognition of Imam is utmost important, not a digital ID card information, no. The recognition, the proper recognition, knowing that Imam, I gave this example, it's not too bad to repeat it, maybe some people weren't here, that how on 15th of Shaban I gave this example as to what is the belief on Imam that we have, Imam-e-Ghaib that we have. So one of our teachers were asked this question, and he gave a very beautiful example. He says an example of a father who leaves his 4 kids in a room, locks it up and leaves. The eldest of the kids does what? Starts destroying everything. Oh, father is gone, now I'm going to take over. The second child starts weeping and crying, oh father, please come back. Please come back, look at what's happening. Third child goes and does, he said, I don't mind what these people are doing. I got a job to do and I got to take care of my business. I got to take care of my own things. And he gets busy in his own work. The fourth child who had seen father from behind the curtain, the father is outside. He just locked the door and he went outside. He's still outside. He starts fixing things. He starts putting things back together. He starts telling others, don't do this. Father is just outside. He hasn't gone too far away. With this, we need to realize which one of these are us. Are we the first one who's destroying everything? Are we the second one who's just weeping and crying, oh Imam, come back, oh Imam, come back, and doing nothing else? Are we the third group who's busy in his own worldly life and has nothing to do with the religion? Or are we that fourth one who's fixing and paving the path for Imam's return? Choice is ours. Our fifth Imam, Imam Muhammad Baqir ﷺ, was asked, do you know when Shab Qadr is? Imam replied, وَكَيْفَ لَا نَعْرِفُ وَالْمَلَائِكَةُ يَطُوفُونَ بِنَا. How do we not know when malaika are circumambulating around us? They are circling around us. Whenever it's Laylatul Qadr, malaika are circumambulating around us. How would we not know? So we know that Imams are well aware of it. Sixth Imam mentioned this, man mata wa laysa lahu imamun mata mitata jahiliyyati kufrin wa shirkin wa dhalalatin. The one who dies and has no recognition of Imam of his time and does not believe in the Imam of the time dies a death of ignorance which is filled with kufr, with shirk and with dhalala. And Prophet also mentioned in last of his sermons of the Shaban, which we also covered in the last Friday khutbah, that Ya Ali wakhtarani lin nubuwwah. Oh Ali, Allah chose me for prophethood, nubuwwat, wa akhtaraka lil imama, and Allah chose you for imamat. He was saying this in front of the public that was present over there. Alanan, announcing, oh Ali, oh people, let it be known, I was chosen as the Nabi, and this Ali was chosen as the Imam of the Ummah. In one of the books of Hadith, we read that a person came to see Rasulullah in his masjid, in Masjid-e-Ali. He entered and he saw Amirul Mu'mineen. He said salam to Amirul Mu'mineen first, and then he said salam to Rasulullah. Anyone who saw that, they started laughing, saying, what are you doing? He said, I followed the hadith of Rasul. He said, Ana madinatul ilm wa aliyun babuha. I am the city of knowledge and Ali is the door. فَمَنْ أَرَادَ الْحِكْمَةَ فَلْيَأْتِهَا مِنْ بَابِهِ. Whoever wants wisdom should come through this door. So I came through the door which Prophet had told us and which Prophet has showed us. So therefore I said salam to Ali ibn Abi Talib so that I can get to you, O Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Salawat Muhammad wa. So the first is recognition of Imam. Know your Imam. This is the best time of the year. Because as we keep on repeating ourselves that how we are ready and prepared to let go of many things so that we can get closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. In Hadith Miraj, when Prophet went to Miraj, Allah asked him, there's a Hadith Miraj, which is a lengthy Hadith. Allah asked him a question, oh Ahmad, when is my servant closest to me? And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala answered himself saying, إِذَا كَانَ جَائِعًا أَوْ سَاجِدًا. When the servant of mine is hungry, empty stomach, and the servant of mine is performing sajda. You all are fasting, and in a little bit you'll be performing the sajda. that is the closest proximity towards Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The closest that you can get to. Second is wara, being God-fearing while you're fasting, abstinence and chastity. I can ask all of you to move forward a little bit. There's some people who are standing in the back. Sallu ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. A couple more minutes, inshallah. I'm running out of my time. I'll go through the list quickly so that I don't dwell on this topic for too long and we have to move on. Second is wara, being God-fearing while you're fasting. Abstinence from, or chastity or devotion are means of perfecting the fast. In the last sermon of Shaban, Rasulullah also said, "O Ali," when Ali ibn Abi Talib got up and asked, "Oh Rasulullah, you've mentioned this khutbah, what is the best of the actions in this month?" He said, "Al-wara." Best of the action is abstinence from what? From protecting oneself from that is which is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has made haram. So wara, or being God-fearing or having this taqwa, is one of the important elements of elevating this fast. Complete abstinence is when an insan not only avoids haram but also stays away from those permissible yet objectionable or doubtful things. No, not just staying away from haram, but those things which are doubtful, those gray area. It has come in Tahzib al-Ahkam and other books of hadith that Prophet heard a woman had spoken ill to her servant. He asked food to be brought for her. She said, "Oh Prophet, I'm fasting." He said, "No, you just use this tongue, this ill, foul language. Your fast is gone. You're no longer fasting." And then he said, fasting is not just abstention from food and drink. Rather, Hazrat Maryam salamullahi alayha abstained from even normal speech to defend herself while she was fasting. She said, "What? Inni nadartu lirrahmani sawman." That I have made this nazar that I am performing this sawm. Thirdly is infaq, which is spending in the way of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. One of the matters of high importance in the month of Ramadan is to do infaq with wealth. Prophet again in his last sermon of Shaban mentioned anyone who offers obligations in this month, whether related to worship or wealth, will get the recompense for 70 times. And that's why you read every single day after the namaz, the dua that we recite is what? Allahumma aghni kulla faqir, Allahumma ashbi kulla ja'i, Allahumma aksu kulla uryan, Allahumma aghzidaina kulla madin. We're making dua so that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala enrich every poor person, satisfy every hunger one, clothe every unclothed one, and help every debtor, the one who has any debts on him. So these are the du'as that we're making. So infaq in this month of Ramadan, when you go out and you help someone, alongside with this fasting is going to go ahead and elevate your fast. I'm running out of my time completely. I'll keep the last two inshallah for tomorrow. I'll promise, if life permits, we'll inshallah continue from where we left off. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to give us the tawfiq to be able to follow these teachings and commands of Masumeen alayhimu salatu wassalam. Oh Allah, accept this fast from us and elevate this fast to the status where it deserves to be. Sallu ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.